The purpose of this presentation is to provide an overview of the SCALE project for the 25-26 school year. SMU, the University of Missouri, and the University of Texas are collaborating on this project. We also have an external evaluator, the American Institutes for Research, or AIR. This project is funded by the U.S. Department of Education. The purpose of the SCALE project is to study an intervention called fraction face-off. The intervention was developed by Dr. Lynn Fuchs out of Vanderbilt University, along with some other colleagues that specialize in mathematics instruction and intervention. The original study was done in Tennessee with graduate research assistants teaching the fraction face-off intervention. That study resulted in an efficacious student outcomes in geometry and measurement, fractions, and general mathematics. The rigor and findings of the study landed the intervention on the What Works Clearinghouse, which provides information when making decisions about interventions. What Works Clearinghouse is kind of like Consumer Reports for education. The intervention was designed for Tier 2 in Grade 4. For the past 3 years, we have been studying the intervention in Grade 4 and have begun expanding our work to Grade 5. Now, for the 25-26 school year, we are looking to see if the positive treatment effects continue with diverse populations in grades 5 through 8. The intent is to expand on the evidence that supports students that have mathematics difficulties. A study from 2022 found that fraction intervention could increase algebra readiness for students having difficulties in mathematics, and multiple studies have found that fractions are a strong predictor of future math success, particularly in algebra. Through this study, we aim to expand that evidence by supporting schools implementing MTSS with having effective and cost-efficient training and intervention for supporting students in understanding fractions. Fraction face-off was strategically designed using evidence-based practices that are shown to be a strong predictor of student achievement. Details about each of these strategies, along with word problems, can be found in the IES practice guide focused on assisting students struggling in mathematics. These 5 on the screen are intentional focuses of each lesson in fraction face-off. Additionally, word problems are included, but extend the length of the lesson to 45 minutes instead of 30. So for the purposes of our study, that portion of the lesson has been excluded. However, you will see systematic and explicit instruction, intentional time spent on language acquisition, a focus on the number line or magnitude as a way of understanding fractions, a focus on numerical fluency, along with mathematical representations ranging from concrete, semi-concrete, to abstract. Fraction Face-Off, or FFO, is 36 lessons that are approximately 30 minutes each. It can be delivered 2 to 4 times a week, depending on the preferred design for your context. There are 5 components to each lesson. First is student training. That's when the teacher teaches a new concept and skill, uses manipulatives, and really dives into new or reviewing content. Then you have the relay. The relay is where students really have the opportunity to verbalize their understanding and thinking as they solve problems that was learned in the training and also cumulatively by taking turns. Then you have the fraction sprint, my personal favorite component, which is building fluency on previously learned concepts and skills. This component of the lesson is very intentionally does not start until lesson 10. That's because the first fluency activity, which is a 1-minute flashcard activity, is it half or not half? And for the first 9 days in the intervention, students really develop their understanding of how to tell if a fraction is half or not half, so that when they go into the fraction sprint, they have a strategy that is reliable that they can use to build their fluency with our fractions half or not half. Over time, the sprint changes, but you can anticipate that same cycle of ensuring students have an efficient, flexible strategy that they can use to implement their fluency skills. Next, we have the individual contest, which is an opportunity for students to practice the work independently. There's spiral review embedded, and the lessons chunk and segment out to ensure that students have multiple opportunities to learn a skill. Then finally, there's the scorecard. The scorecard is an opportunity for students to see their progress in the lesson related to teamwork, in which students can can earn fraction dollars throughout the lesson for working together as a team and being on task. And for the individual contest, if students get the bonus problems correct, they also earn fraction bucks. And additionally, every few days in the fraction sprints for increasing their score, they can earn fraction bucks. Those fraction bucks are then provided to the students, and they get to trade them in for prizes in the fraction store, which are also provided by the grant. So, Fraction Face-Off is a tool that benefits both teachers and students. This project aims to serve as a resource to improve student and educator success. It's not meant to be an additional task. We want to support educators in their progress towards goals they are already working to achieve. The intervention is a day-by-day pre-prepared lesson plan with a script that can reduce teacher workload, ensure access to evidence-based practices for students, and increase teacher confidence. Additionally, the project provides job-embedded professional development on design of high-quality intervention, fractions, and the actual intervention itself. We also firmly believe that involving teachers in research projects gives them insight into the research project, and this one also gives them the opportunity to be a part of something that could increase math knowledge for students and their confidence on a national scale. So now let's look at how your campus or district can get involved. We are looking for interventionists to be a part of this project. An interventionist is staff that provides support to Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. It could be your general education teachers. Perhaps there's a time during the day where they pull students back for intervention to small groups. It could be special education teachers, maybe a resource classroom, instructional aides, other small group tutors, or academic coaches. Anyone that is supporting Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention directly with students qualifies to participate in the study. As a reminder, originally this was designed for grade 4. However, we're expanding the research to grades 5 through grades 8. In grade 5, we're looking for Tier 2 students that show need for support in numeracy and or fractions. In grades 6 through 8, we're targeting Tier 3 students that have that same goal. Students in grades 6 through 8 may be receiving special education services, but they need to take the general state assessment to qualify to be a part of the study. This study is a randomized control trial. Randomized control trials are the gold standard for determining causality. They increase confidence that an intervention truly can improve student outcomes. They support with compliance because they use evidence-based practices, and it helps us develop a partnership that can lead to access to expertise and innovative solutions. So this is how this randomized control trial will work. First, we determine what teachers might be interested in the study, and they are consented. This is the teacher's option to consent to participate in the study. Then your district or campus will review your student data and identify what students are going to be receiving intervention for the 25-26 school year, and you'll finalize your intervention groups. Once the intervention groups are finalized, we need to consent the students. This is done by sending a consent to the parents for student participation in the study. Don't worry, if a parent decides they do not want their child to be a part of the study, the student can still receive intervention. We just won't study that student as a part of the study, and we won't collect data on them. Once the students are all consented, that are going to be in the intervention groups, then interventionists are randomized. 50% of the interventionists will be in the treatment group and will implement fraction face-off and participate in fraction face-off training. The other 50% will be in the business as usual control group. This means that if a teacher is selected as business as usual, they will continue to implement their intervention that you normally do on your campus or for your district as designed, and will not participate in fraction face-off for the 25-26 school year. However, they will receive access to that training for the 26-27 school year. Once interventionists are randomized, we also administer pre-tests to the students and the interventionist. Then the students participate in the interventionist, and the interventionists participate in training. And then we administer post measures to the students and the teachers. So the real key here is randomization doesn't occur until after intervention groups are finalized and students are consented. So what does this look like for the 25-26 school year? All interventionists that participate in the study will assist us with collection of student consents. We will provide the consents. We just need assistance being collecting those back from the students. They'll also assist us with scheduling of pre and post measures for the students. If you are not local to the university, we do have extra compensation for the interventionist or someone at the district level to administer the pre and post measures. Then the interventionists also complete their own pre and post assessments, and observations will occur 2 to 4 times during the intervention, depending on which group the interventionist is placed in. For random assignment into business as usual or fraction face-off, our business as usual teachers will also receive follow-up training for the 26-27 school year and compensation of up to $300 for participating in the study and assisting us with the activities related to the study. Fraction face-off teachers will participate in virtual asynchronous training on fraction face-off, engage in coaching support related to the observations, track attendance of the intervention, teach the 36 lessons, and receive up to $650 in compensation. Here's what that compensation looks like. It is based on completion of several components of the study. We also intend to split the payments into a fall and spring payment. Most teachers earn half the payment in the fall and half the payment in the spring. To sum it up, through this project, we would offer an evidence-based Tier 2 intervention and support for students. Access to What Works Clearinghouse intervention materials that interventionists get to use during the project and keep after the project if they're designated fraction face-off. Provide professional development for the fraction face-off teachers, and then access to the professional development for BAU teachers after this academic school year. Once coaching supports, or you get ongoing coaching support for your project team of interventionists and a small stipend for participation. What we would need from you is interventionists that we can work with that are working with students that are receiving Tier 2 or Tier 3 instruction, assistance with consenting, time for the interventionist to complete the professional development, an understanding that there is random assignment to business as usual or fraction face-off, and an MOU or a memorandum of understanding with your district about what the requirements of the study is. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of our site coordinators at MU, UT, or SMU. Or if it's easier, you can also send an email to scalefractions@smu.edu, and we'll make sure to route you to the appropriate coordinator. Thank you so much.